Hi guys, welcome to episode 13 of the podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Gonna get straight into it. So last weekend I was in Lisbon on the mate stag doing had a really good time and it's it doesn't just have to be a stag do, but if you just wanted like a general like weekend away or a city break, highly recommend it. It's such a nice city, really cool place, lots to see, lots to do. It's very hilly actually, is Lisbon, and like lots of trams and you've got like the river and you've got Pink Street and all sorts of cool stuff really. So it's really good, Lisbon. We had a really good time. Just like good to see the lads again, catch up with each other, and I did have quite a lot to drink inevitably, but I kind of surprised myself in terms of I did all right with it. Didn't do anything too crazy. If you wanted a weekend away, Lisbon, highly recommend it. It was like nice weather as well. It was kind of between sort of like 28 and 32 degrees when we were there, but not like the sort of 32 degrees that you have in England where it's kind of like where you're like suffocating and it's so unbearable. It's like a nice 32 degrees as well. And like the beer is good as well, and so's the food. So can't really go wrong. Only problem with Lisbon is when you fly back to the UK and go to the airport, it is a bit of a shit show, really. Pretty much like as soon as you get through security, which was a bit of a ball ache in itself, you could see like loads of people queuing for something. We couldn't work out what it was they were queuing for, so we went and got some scran. And anyway, one of the lads realised that they were queuing for the passport scanning, and then border control, and the queue was like literally must have been a mile long without exaggerating, because you could not see from one end of the queue to another. So it was like really poorly organised. So it is a bit of a ball ache if you ever flying home from Lisbon. But that's the only negative really. Like the whole weekend was really good. So definitely give Lisbon a try if you haven't already done so. Now I did last week say I was going to do a podcast on Bank Holiday Monday, and I didn't. So I do apologise for that, because normally when I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. But on this occasion, I didn't. The original plan was to do a recording on Monday, but to cut a long story short, I spent all day in the Lake District. Left the house at at 6 o'clock in the morning, didn't get back till 10:30 at night. Had an opportunity to go to the lakes and do a hike. So we drove to Grasmere and we did like a 22k hike, did like various, I think we did like 10 different Wainwrights or something. And it was like 32 degrees. So it's like a really hot day. Probably should have done it, to be honest with you, but no, it was a really nice day for it, even though it was too hot. I love going to the Lake District in general, whether that's for hiking or just to chill out. It's such a nice part of the country, and it's only like a couple of hours away. So if you're looking for something to do at the weekend, definitely go to the lakes. And Grasmere is really nice. You've got like the gingerbread shop. I bought some, and it was absolutely unbelievable, to be fair. And just like really really nice hikes and routes that you can do too. So get yourself over there if you haven't done so. What I want to touch on is kind of like, some people like to train in a gym and other people like to train at home, and I'm kind of going to say kind of my thoughts on it really. So I think training at home kind of became big during lockdown like 6 years ago, because obviously the gyms were all closed. People quite often had got themselves some like gym equipment and set it up in their garages or in their back gardens or whatever. I do think there's definitely advantages to it, especially if you work from home or if you have like a busy lifestyle. For example, you can literally just nip to the garage and just do like a session. If you've got you don't need like loads of equipment, just like a few dumbbells, kettlebells, a bench and a mat and things like that. Resistance bands would be really helpful too if you plan on training at home. Or you can even just do like a body weight exercise, or you can even like go into the living room, put YouTube up on the TV, you can, do like loads of like yoga classes or Pilates or a HIIT session or whatever it may be. So yeah, there's definitely advantages to training from home. It's like very convenient. It's literally there right in front of you. Um, in terms of like going to a gym and joining a gym, like obviously you've got to like, usually pay a monthly gym membership, which, yeah, the prices vary, depend on like what type of gym you go to or what type of facility you go to, or even like whereabouts in the country you live can have an effect. But I think ultimately, like the number one most important thing you should prioritize, no matter who you are, is your health. So yeah, I know, like for example, people's finances can be tight, and say 25 quid a month might sound very steep and put a big hole in you. But at the end of the day, if you spend that money and you show up to the gym on a regular basis, then your health's gonna improve. You're less likely to develop diseases, and therefore you're not having to like, pay money to get better. Whether that's like going private or what have you. But I think bottom line is health is more important than wealth. So if you're going to spend money in Costa, for example, buy one or two coffees a week, that'll easily bypass 25 quid in a month. So I think without meaning to sound controversial, I think most people probably can afford to pay 25 quid a month for a gym membership, but they probably choose to prioritize and spend money on other things instead, if you sort of catch my drift. But me personally, there's no right or wrong answer whether it's better to train at home or train in the gym. I prefer to train in the gym. I just like to get out of the house. So even if I had like a state of the art gym facility in the garage, I probably wouldn't use it very much, purely because like it would still involve me being stuck in a house. And I think when you're at home, there's like too many distractions as well. Whereas I think if you actually like get out of the front door and either walk to the gym or drive to the gym or however you get there, I think it's just getting out of the house alone is like really good for you mentally. It's just a different environment. You're here to train, you can focus and you can just get on with the job in hand. And on the other flip side, a lot of people, particularly like kind of older people, they'll go to a gym because it's like somewhere where they can like socialize with other people, and it might be their only opportunity of the day to do so, whereas they might not be able to do that if they were to train at home. So there's definitely advantages, to having a gym membership and actually using it as well, regardless of like what your goals are. Obviously, like that wasn't an option during COVID because gyms, had to close down, which I personally thought was ridiculous. But my opinion means squat to the government. But I do think, having gym facilities is like very, very important to have, regardless of who you are. Yeah, I'd be interested to know your thoughts in terms of like, whether you prefer training in the gym or train at home. So yeah, do get in touch. But like, I mean, even though like, I've dropped my pen by the way, but yeah, even though like I go like running as well. On the flip side, is it better to like run outdoors or is it better to run on a treadmill? I personally prefer running outdoors because if I'm on a treadmill, 9 times out of 10, no matter what gym it is that I go to, the aircon is not very good, and it's like being in a sauna. It's just too hot, and I also find being on the treadmill like a bit too boring as well. Especially if you're doing like anything beyond 5k. It just gets a bit tedious for me, and you're just like staring at the same wall or looking out of the same window. Whereas if you go outside, like even if the weather's a bit crap, just getting out and about, getting that fresh air, I just think is really good for you both mentally and physically as well. Now, obviously, like this time of the year, when the weather's really hot, like it can also be a bit unbearable to run outdoors. So, it's a good idea to go out for a run like first thing in the morning or like late at night as well. At the same time, I do think like there can be cons to running outside, particularly like for women, because all over the country, like some women like do like get harassed by weird men shall I say, when they go outside running. Whether it's like guys like shouting like inappropriate comments at them or whistling at them or things like that, or even following them, and it can be like for them like really intimidating. So going into a gym and going for a run on a treadmill is like a much safer environment, for example. So it's a really like sad state of affairs, really. I saw something, I can't remember what it's called actually, but I saw something recently. I think it was in Leeds where it was like basically like a female running club essentially, where they all like meet together in a park and they go for a run together, and it's kind of like a big community and everyone feels safer, and then it's just like kind of like building new relationships and stuff like that, and having that social aspect too, and everyone feeling safe together. So I think there's definitely positives that come out of it. But yeah, what I'm basically getting at is like, again, there is like no right or wrong answer whether it's better to run outside or run on a treadmill. It's purely down to like personal preference and your own circumstances. But yeah, like I do personally like prefer to run outdoors. I think like it makes the time go a lot quicker as well. But if I do like 20 minutes outside, it's 20 minutes. If I do what feels like 20 minutes on the treadmill, I'll look at the screen and it'll say I've only done 3 minutes, and then you kind of like lose the will to live a little bit. So yeah, it's just down to what you prefer, really. On the subject of running, so yeah, anyone who's like don't know anything about me will know that I've ran marathons and ultra marathons before. But there is like a different type of format of an ultra marathon that I want to talk about, and it's called a backyard ultra, or a last man standing. So what that is, a backyard ultra is you run a yard. Now I don't mean a yard as in like one big step forwards. I mean, so a yard is basically like 4.167 miles or 6.706 kilometers. So you basically run that distance, and then you've got to run that distance again like every hour on the hour until you stop, basically. So you've got to kind of like strategize. So you've got an hour, to run that distance. So if you run that 6.706 kilometers in 40 minutes, for example, then that means you get a 20-minute rest before you got to go again. But if you run a little bit slower, you get a bit less rest. But the faster you run, the more rest you get, if that makes sense. But it is actually a lot harder than it sounds. For me, like from the outside looking in, when I watch other people do it, it doesn't look overly difficult. But actually, when you do it yourself, it is so much harder. So basically, like because of like when you have your rest periods, like the sort of standing around and waiting around, your legs just kind of like seize up, and it's like actually quite difficult to get going again once you've got to start your next yard. So I'm recording this on Friday, so this afternoon I kind of did like a mini backyard ultra myself. So I ran 4 yards, and then I had a 15-minute rest in between each yard. So during that 15 minutes, like I'd like go to the toilet, grab a drink, grab a snack, chat to Waggy for a bit at work, and then just run outside again. Yeah, I did find it like quite mentally challenging, even though it was just a 4 yards. So it worked out at like just over 25 kilometers in total. Now, if I was to run like a continuous 25k at like a steady pace, so anything around sort of 5 minutes 20 or 5 minutes 30 per kilometer, I'd be able to do that like fairly easily. And I don't mean that to sound big-headed, but it's just kind of like a normal thing for me to like be able to do. But in like the backyard format, like you want to kind of like run it as slow as possible, like one, to conserve energy, because you want to go for as long as you can, and two, so that you're actually reducing your rest periods, so you're not waiting around or walking around for too long, so that your legs don't seize up as much. So I ran pace wise roughly I think my average pace was like 6 minutes 25 seconds on average, which like for me is like a lot slower than what I would usually do, even on a normal, what I would class as an easy run. So yeah, running really slow, as bizarre as it sounds, is actually like was actually quite hard for me. Um, but then the actual kind of like 15-minute rest periods was kind of like more brutal on the legs than the actual running aspect of it. Because like I mentioned earlier, like it just your legs kind of like seize up a bit. So yeah, it was like quite mentally challenging, especially because like I did it by myself. But I know like if I did like an actual event, for example, there'd be like other people doing it with me, and that does naturally like make it a little bit easier. So about in roughly 4 weeks time, so it'll be like the last Saturday in June. I'm not doing like an actual official event, but me and Max are going to do our own backyard ultra in Bishopwood, just outside Selby, and we're going to do it on the Saturday. And he's reliably informed me that England play that evening as well. So the plan is to do a backyard ultra at Bishopwood by ourselves. You know, we'll park the cars in the car park, and we'll have like our own drinks and scran in the cars as well. So we'll basically like run back to the cars at the end of each yard, refuel, and then go again like on every hour on the hour. So yeah, hopefully it won't be too hot a day, but with it being the end of June, I imagine it probably will be a scorcho. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, especially doing like that kind of event when it isn't an actual official event. So you know, there's no prizes at the end of it. It's just purely for like achievement purposes. So yeah, really looking forward to it. You know, I say like we've got 4 weeks to start training for it. I started training for it like a fortnight ago. You know, even before that, 2 weeks ago, like my sort of base level of, you know, cardiovascular fitness and running was like, oh, you know, it's kind of already there really. So it's kind of a case of just like getting used to the format of the backyard ultra as opposed to kind of like continuous runs, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of that really for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Going to be out again a week on Sunday at 6 p.m. as usual. So if there's anything you want me to talk about or you got any questions, put it in the comments below. I'm going to talk a little bit about nutrition and kind of a bit of like a myth buster type job, shall we say. You know, there's lots of swallocks out there that like lots of people believe, and I'm basically going to kind of set the record straight. So yeah, looking forward to doing that one. Yeah, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and yeah, hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.